Welcome back, everybody. Well, this week I'm going to do a song that is probably the most requested song that I've had from any of my listeners over the years. I've done a ton of CCR lessons, and they're all like, yeah, that's great, but can I hear Green River? So today we're going to do that. We're going to do Green River by Creedence Clearwater Revival. There's a rhythm guitar track, and it sounds like three different actually electric tracks that are mixed together to hear what we hear on the final record. So I'm going to take you through all of that. If this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, please jump down, click subscribe, ring the bell. Bell lets you know when I drop new content. I do that every single week. All my lessons have chapters in them, so you can jump right to the part that you want to see and bypass what you don't. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, I appreciate that. There's thanks, just like throwing a tip in the tip jar. Or even better, you can join my Patreon page where I've got chord charts and tabs for all the lessons I do on YouTube, just like this one. Links in the description, so check it out. All right, so Green River. So this is one of those, highly requested songs, and it's in standard tuning. So it's not one of those CCR songs. You know, many of them are John Fogerty tuned down a whole step, you know, on his Les Paul custom, but not this one. This is all standard tuning. So take a deep breath in and out. Okay. So this is pretty much a clean tone for most of the electric guitars, and there's one electric guitar that's got some overdrive on it a little bit, but I'm going to go with sort of a clean tone here to start. So I'm going to take you through these electric parts first, and then I'll do a touch on the acoustic guitar that you're hearing too. I'll do that at the end. All right, so we're going to start with the first riff that you hear that opens the song. And what was great is, for me, this was actually a new chord voicing for E7, right? So and many of you learned E7 like this, or like this, or like this, right? And, but he's going to be using an E7 that's shaped like this. He's not gonna play that first note. So he actually, that's kind of what you got going on there. Now when you watch film of him playing it, he and his brother, by the way, who's playing rhythm guitar, he uses his ring finger, and his index finger, ring, and pinky to do this. And God bless him, he can do it. And if you can do it, great. It's so difficult for me to land that cleanly that way. So I'm going to use these three fingers, and I'm going to let my pinky hang in the wind, right? All right. So that's the shape of the E7 that we're going to play. All right, now what he does here is a technique. It's sort of loosely based on what you hear guys like Chet Atkins or Merle Travis playing, where you've got a rhythm independently going on with your thumb, and then you have something different going on with your fingers on the other strings. So he's going to pedal, he's going to just keep a same rhythm on the open E string down here, mute it with his, you mute it a little bit with your palm. So you got that going on. That's going to go the whole time, right? And independent of that, you're going to do this chord shape that we learned. And you're really only playing strings 2 and 3 on that. You're sort of not playing those two, but he's fretting them, and it's good that you fret them, because if you miss a string, you're going to hit one that's in the chord, right? So you're sort of covering yourself there. But yeah, so you're going to have an independent, and if I take that away, what we're doing on our second and third strings, it's sliding into this. It's that kind of thing. So you mix them together. And I can't get it cleanly. Your thumb wants to play. Right, the second half of that is as you're playing, right? Now, when you watch him play live back in the day, he seems to have a pick on the low note, and he's doing his fingers on the other, you know, so it's something like, where you sort of mix between the two. Just to keep it easy here, I think I'm gonna try and stick on my fingers here as I'm showing the parts here. One more time. I'll do it slow. Okay, so that's that riff. Yeah, that's sort of the character of the whole song, is built around that chord voicing. And live, you can see his brother playing that chord voicing, and he's playing rhythm guitar. He's just doing that all day long. But that's the riff. I used the pick that time. Let me just put that away, like I said I would. All right, so then we're into our verses. Now the verse is just going to chug along, and it's mostly an acoustic guitar. I think there's an electric doubling the acoustic, but it's so low in the mix. We'll talk about that later. But what this guitar does, like I said, there's like 3 electric guitar parts that are woven together. I'm going to call this guitar number 1. It's the predominant one that you hear throughout. So during the verse, we're just going to chug a lug on a E7, and it sort of sounds like he's very quietly just going along with it, and he just, every once in a while, like that's very, very, very down in the mix when you listen to the broken out isolated tracks. And then you get this. Right? You're just going to bend up super hard from the 2nd fret on the G string and pop that 1st E string, and then back to our riff. And on those, I don't think he's doing I don't hear that. So I think it's just the top end of that riff going on. But if you wanted to try, be all Chet and Merle Travisy. Right? Do it again. And then again. Get to our first chord change, it's a C. And I always find I think they're hitting that C and G together. Maybe it's the acoustic that's doing that, but I hear that in the song for sure. But it's just E7, C over G, again super quiet, A, you hit 2 times on A, and then you come back to, and your riff. And this time it's a little different on the E7. It's built off of this E7 shape. So, right? So think of that E7, you're just playing these 2 strings of it. So that part. And he switches to that part of an E7. Now we're into our next verse, and this guitar is going along the same, kind of the same, quiet. Same. Now he finishes it differently. Right? So instead of, this time it's, All right, and again. There you go. And back to our part again. And we're into our guitar solo part. So this guitar plays something interesting during the guitar solo. This is where everything sort of splits off. What this guitar track does, opens it up with this riff. And I think it's, rather than, I think it is a bend. Okay, so super interesting what this guitar does under the guitar solo. It doesn't play the guitar solo. It plays this bed underneath it. It goes like this. So that's the bed of all the actual guitar soloing that you hear over it. But I just love that. It's just hammers. It's hammering on that D string up to the E note. And it's just playing with whatever the root note is of the chord. Like there's 3 measures of that E. 1, 2, 3. And then it goes to the C. Because this note is in the C, and it's also in the A. Love it. And then on the last verse, the slight differential here. That's the riff. So instead of so that isn't happening anymore. He just sort of hits an upstroke on the chord. And it's this part of an E minor. Right? That whole thing. So love that. Then to the outro. And this part on the outro, he starts it the same as we did going into the guitar solo. And then what this thing does is very tame. Just playing around that E chord, so slowly. Doing that all the way out. So that's guitar number 1. Guitar number 2 complements number 1. All through the intro and all through the first verses, really all you're hearing is 1, except right before each one of those that you hear, guitar number 2 gives you one of these. Right before it. So it's sort of this kind of thing. That's what you're hearing, but that is actually another guitar track. Or somehow that's Fogerty playing it on guitar number 1, and they completely pan that little part to one side and then come right back. I don't think that's happened. I think it's an overdub. And that's sprinkled in during verses 1 and 2. It's just those little things. Otherwise, it's silent. The other place that this guitar comes in now next is going into the guitar solo. It doubles what guitar number 1 does. Okay, so it does that. And then this is the guitar, well, this is the track anyway, when you're hearing pan left and right. it's on this side that you hear the guitar solo. And again, this is a clean, very clean sounding, sort of pseudo Chet Atkins fingerpicked kind of thing. So it comes in after the little riff, and then you hear this overdub solo come in. Just all over that E. Then when it goes to the C chord, love that. To the A. And then it's out. Then you hear guitar number 1 take over. Right? So playing that all together here. And then guitar number 1. All right? So that's guitar number 2. What you hear happening behind all of that is guitar number 3. And guitar number 3 has some overdrive on it. And it's the one that you just hear that's doing this. Just sort of punctuating through all of that. But those are 3 different guitar tracks or overdubs that are happening on the guitar solo part there. All right, then everything sort of stays the same through the last verse. And again, guitar number 2 picks up going into the outro, doubling that descending riff that number 1 did. Right? And what happens here is, I think what happens here is guitar number 3 kicks in, and you hear this little thing. So it does that 3 or 4 times, and you can tell he just holds that. And during that last one, I think that's guitar number 2 that then comes back. You confused yet? Guitar number 2 comes back because it starts playing while that last sort of bend is happening. And you hear this. Like that we heard on that, you know, the last parts of the verses. It's that sort of a riff. But he comes back with that riff. So that first one ends here. He catches those. And the next one is just open. But I thought that was cool. I didn't know that there was actually that many things going on Green River with the electrics. So, all right, so let's look at the acoustic. What's the acoustic doing on this? All right, the acoustic guitar. So it's actually very simple. There's really only 3 chords in this song. There's maybe a 4th one that sneaks in, maybe a 4th. But really, it's just an E7. And on the record anyway, on the record, it's this. It sounds like to me it's this shaped E7. That's C over G, and an A, and it does a really quick, like a G, before it goes back to the E. So the strum that he's got on that is very much like he's gonna do a quick upstroke and hammer on, right? Right? Ma-na-na-na, ma-na-na-na-na-na. So there is very much that hammer on. Sort of the same with the C. A. And that's where you get the... So going into that part again. He doesn't cleanly play that every note in the G, but I think it's just those middle chords. But that's the vibe of the rhythm. It's just getting that hammer on the beginning of that cycle. At the beginning of each measure. All right. Well, that was Green River by Creedence Clearwater Revival, and I hope you learned something new today. So if this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, please jump down, click subscribe, ring the bell, give me a thumbs up, that helps a lot. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this, and if there's another song you want me to take on and do something similar, let me know what that is too. This was a viewer request for sure, so there you go. I do get to them eventually. Well, until next week, take care everybody.